Please. Just help me reach 100 subscribers. That promise still echoes in my mind, but not nearly as much as the memory of her laughter that night. I'll never forget it. We were sitting on opposite sides of the bed. I was scrolling through emails trying to focus, while she was glued to TikTok, giggling at clips. The silence stretched until I finally spoke. It's been 2 months, Emily, I murmured. We're married. Shouldn't we at least try to reconnect? She glanced up, smirked, and then laughed. Not a sweet laugh, but a sharp, cutting one that stung worse than any argument we'd ever had. You're not sleeping with me, she replied mockingly, like it was some kind of joke. Not until I feel like it. Deal with it. My stomach turned. It wasn't the first time she'd brushed me aside, but that night felt different. There was no explanation, no regret, no apology. Just dismissal, like my needs meant nothing. I didn't argue. I just lay on my back staring at the ceiling while she drifted off, snoring softly, a canyon of silence between us. The next morning I tried again. I wanted to understand. Emily, this isn't just about sex, I told her. It's about us. About closeness, about being a team. She rolled her eyes. You're so dramatic. Not everything's about you. Something inside me shifted that day. For weeks I had blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't patient enough. Maybe I wasn't attractive enough. Maybe I wasn't making her feel wanted. But now I understood it wasn't me. It was about respect, or rather, the lack of it. And once I saw that, I started noticing everything else. The hours she spent glued to her phone, laughing at messages she never shared with me. The sudden late nights at work, that left her coming home smelling of perfume she didn't even own. I tried convincing myself I was paranoid, but deep down I knew. The final blow came one Friday night. I overheard her in the kitchen on the phone. He's so needy, she said, laughing again. It's like living with a teenager. Don't worry, he won't do anything. He never does. I froze in the hallway, her words echoing in my head. She wasn't just dismissing me anymore. She was mocking me to someone else. That was the moment pain gave way to anger. While she stayed on the call, I quietly opened my laptop and searched for divorce attorneys. Over the weekend I played it cool. Smiled. I brewed coffee. I acted as though nothing had changed. But inside I was finished. My gut screamed there was more going on, and I wasn't going to ignore it. On Sunday, she announced she was going to brunch with a friend. I watched her get ready. Full makeup, a new dress, and heels she hadn't worn since our wedding reception. My chest tightened, but I forced a smile. Have fun, I said. The moment she left, I followed. I kept enough distance so she wouldn't notice, but close enough to see her walk into a quiet cafe, and straight into the arms of a man I didn't recognize. He hugged her like someone who wasn't just a friend. They sat across from each other, leaning close, exchanging touches, whispering and smiling like lovers. I didn't storm in. I didn't cause a scene. Instead, I pulled out my phone and recorded 10 minutes of undeniable evidence. Every laugh, every touch, every secret glance. And when she kissed him goodbye in the parking lot, my chest burned like fire. But I had proof. That evening, when she returned home all smiles, she kissed me on the cheek like nothing had happened. How was brunch? I asked calmly. Fine, she answered casually, kicking off her shoes. Good, I replied, pulling out my phone. Because I'd hate to think you were lying to me. The color drained from her face as the video played. Her laughter, her hand in his hair, her lips on his. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Emily, I said slowly, my voice like ice. Do you know how humiliating it is to be laughed at in my own house, in my own marriage? Only to find out this is what you've been doing behind my back? Her hands shook as she reached for the phone. It's not what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like, I cut in sharply. And I'm done pretending this is a marriage. For the first time I saw fear in her eyes. She tried to grab my arm, but I stepped away. You think this is funny? I said, my voice trembling with rage. You won't be laughing tomorrow. That night I packed a suitcase, forwarded the evidence to my lawyer, and chose the couch. Not because I had to, but because I couldn't stand being near her. The next morning I skipped small talk. I drank my coffee in silence. Emily came in with red, swollen eyes. "Can we talk?" she whispered. "We talked last night," I replied flatly. "Now it's time to act." She sat across from me, hands twisting nervously. "It was a mistake," she murmured. "It didn't mean anything." I finally met her eyes. "Emily, you laughed at me. You mocked me. And then you betrayed me. It meant enough for you to risk our marriage." Her voice cracked. "I can change. Please, just don't leave me." I shook my head. "You made your choice when you chose him over us. I'm not going to beg for scraps of affection." Tears streamed down her face. She grabbed my hand desperately. "You can't just throw away everything we've built." I slowly pulled my hand back. "You already did. You threw it away the first time you cheated, and every time you mocked me for caring." The only sound left was her sobbing. I stood, pulled out the divorce papers I'd printed that morning, and set them on the table. "I want a divorce," I said firmly. Her face crumpled. "Please don't do this." But I didn't waver. "I deserve a wife who respects me. You deserve the man you've been sneaking around with. Go to him." That afternoon I put my suitcase in the trunk and drove away. For the first time in months I felt something I thought I'd lost: peace. A week later she texted, "I made a mistake. Please come home." I never replied. The papers were already signed, the court date set. When we finally stood before the judge, she cried quietly, but I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. No regret. Only freedom. And as I walked out of the courthouse, it struck me. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't scream, fight, or beg. Simply walk away.